Connecticut. That's awesome. I've not been to any of those states. I think I would love to go to New Jersey and Connecticut, right? So I would love to. My goal is to visit all 50 states, right? Recently, let me tell you guys a story. Recently, I took my kids and we went to Florida. It was the longest trip of my life. And so I drove for the first time. It was amazing. And but it was good because last time we went to Florida, we flew. But this time I said, no, let's drive. The kids wanted to drive. We said, okay, let's drive and see and get a different experience. And trust me, it was awesome. It was awesome. We went through from Texas, we went to Louisiana, we went through Mississippi, we went through what was the other one again? Um, I've forgotten. I'll remember. Don't worry. But it was a great experience. I've never been to Mississippi. It was my first time. Then on our way back, we had to stop at Mississippi. Went to do some, went to there was an outlet there. Then we went there to Gabuga, you went to, that's awesome. Yeah, so we went there for well, not grocery shopping. We went to Ralph Lauren, bought some things for the kids. It was great. But you the truth is it's awesome to visit all 50 states, right? So that's my goal. That's one of my goals. Right. So today, I'm going to start now. We're going to start. So for those who do not know me, my name is Jerry Pani, right? I have been an accountant for 18 years now. I qualified as an accountant in 2005, right? So I have reached the pinnacle of my career as an accountant. I'm a fellow chartered certified accountant. I've been practicing for 18 years, right? So I'm also a finance expert. I advise people on finances, investments, whether it's credit score, anything that has to do with money. Um, you know, different types of investment vehicles, um, from basic things to financial literacy. Advising people on managing money, budgeting, and all this kind of stuff. So I do all of those, whether it's credit score, all of them. But the thing that's keeping me excited now. So as you see, it says tax plan expert, right? Tax plan strategy. So recently, I decided to expand my business. So historically, in the last couple of years, I've been doing a lot of tax returns for my clients, but I decided to expand into tax planning, tax strategy. Now, this is crazy. Most people don't understand the difference between um, a tax preparer and a CPA and a tax strategist, right? So before I start, I'm just going to explain because it's absolutely important, right, for everyone to know. Now, most people don't understand that tax preparers are not tax accountants, right? Um, just say I'm in a meeting. Sorry, is somebody calling me? And shut the door, please. Yes, tell them I'm in a meeting, okay? It's my little ones. Bear with me, please. So yes, so like I was saying, there's a difference between a tax preparer. So tax preparers, their job really is just you bring your documents to a tax preparer and they file your taxes, right? Now, whether you owe or not is not their problem. Their goal, you hire them to prepare and file your taxes. That's the role of a tax preparer. Now, most people don't understand tax preparers are not tax accountants, and tax accountants are not tax strategists, right? Now, what's the difference between a tax preparer and a CPA and a tax strategist, right? So I've been an accountant for 18 years and I myself I struggle to understand this. The truth is that we accountants, we are trained to be tax accountants. It means that what? You give me your documents, I prepare your financials or whatever, you know, in compliance with the tax laws, right? Just to make sure that you don't break the rules. That's how we accountants work. But it's a different ball game. Accountants are tax accountants. Accountants are not tax strategists. That's what people don't understand, right? So a tax strategist is like a tax expert. So these are people who specialize in reducing your tax rate. So these are the guys that a lot of wealthy people use, like Donald Trump and all these wealthy guys, to reduce their taxes. So that's the area that I've been expanding my business, focusing in that area of taxes. Look, I love being an accountant. I love taxes, but today we're going to talk about a couple of things. So this I started this journey is called Let's Talk About Taxes. The goal is to take you guys on a journey, on a tax journey, to ensure that you have that basic, that foundation, right? To position yourself strategically to understand the things that you need to know about taxes. Ignorance is not an excuse. If anyone is ignorant, they have themselves to blame. So you don't have an excuse to be ignorant. I'm just being honest. Now, why do I say this? I'm just going to share with you guys a couple of stories. Over the last couple of years, I've prepared tax returns for so many nurses, and I came to realize that um, most people don't understand the content of their tax return. They don't even know what's in their tax return. They just give it to the tax preparer. The tax preparer would file whatever he files, and they sign it. They don't even understand what is, you know, what's Schedule C, what's Schedule A. So these are things that you need to understand. What's itemized deductions versus standard deductions, right? So I started this journey, and the goal is that to empower you guys so that you need to know these things and empower yourself. That you can only pass on to your kids what you know, right? What you don't know, you don't know. But what you know, that's what you can empower your kids with, right? So today we're going to talk about Schedule C. Now, Schedule C is basically for business owners, right? So if you have so you I'll have to organize another session and talk about different business entities. But for today, we're going to talk about there's this reflection, right? So I might have to remove my glasses, but let me just put it on, right? It's not fancy glasses, right? So Schedule C, what is so? Before I start talking about Schedule C, let's talk about business. Businesses, those that what kind of business is going on Schedule C, anyways. So if you look at a Schedule C, Schedule C is basically profit and loss from a sole proprietorship, right? So a sole proprietorship is a business entity. It means that Mika decides that she's a business owner today. She doesn't need to form an LLC. She just trades in her name. Or Sugabuga, you decide to start a business today. Um, you say, okay, I'm going to start maybe a hair salon or whatever, a IV hydration business. You trade in your name. That's what is a sole proprietorship, right? Now, the next type of business entity is an LLC. Now, when you have an LLC, if it's a single member LLC and you don't, and if it's a single member LLC and you do not elect to be taxed as an S corporation, then that LLC is going to be taxed as a disregarded entity. So what does that mean? It means that that LLC is going to be treated as a sole proprietorship, right? It's going to be treated as a sole proprietorship. We have to be very careful there, right? Now, yes, Sugabuga, you say you have a real estate, you have an LLC, right? Okay. Yes. So again, there are so many tax strategies when it comes to like real estate, and there are many mistakes that people make with regards to structuring their businesses. Again, today we're not talking about that, right? Today we're talking about what goes on a Schedule C. Right. What goes on is Schedule C if you are a sole proprietorship, right? Or if you have an LLC and you have not elected to be taxed as an S corporation by completing Form 2553, then you are going to be taxed as a sole proprietorship, right? Even though you have an LLC. Now, what else goes on to Schedule C? If you have a 1099 NEC non-employee compensation, it means you're an independent contractor. So if you are a nurse, for example, or a pharmacist and somebody hires you or whatever the case may be, they pay you as an independent contractor. So you are going to get Form 1099 NEC. That means you are a business owner, right? Now, the tax code is designed for business owners. The tax code is designed for business owners. The tax code is not designed for W2 employees. So you have to do your best to ensure that you have a form of business. If you want to take advantage of the tax code, you need to have a form of business, right? So I love to talk about businesses. I love to talk about taxes. It's my passion, right? It's funny because I wanted to be a doctor. Thank God I never became a doctor. Right? Yes. So I've been self-employed for over 13 years now. But anyways, so we've looked at what goes on a Schedule C. Like I said before, just to recap, if you have a sole proprietorship, you trade in your name, or if you have an LLC that's taxed as a disregarded entity, which means that what you did not elect to be taxed as an S corporation, you are going to complete a Schedule C, right? Now, if you are also generally Schedule C is if you have an active business, then and is if either a sole proprietorship or a single member LLC that's taxed as a sole proprietorship, that would go on a Schedule C, right? So beautiful. So what goes on the Schedule C, right? You have to put on a Schedule C, obviously you put the name of the of the proprietor, and then you have to put a description of their business, right? What's the nature of the business? You have to put that on the form, the business address. But I'm just going to skip those. Now there are key elements of the Schedule C which I'm going to just highlight. Now these are things that you have to be careful because these have tax implications. So because of the complexity associated with the Schedule C, I'm just going to focus on some of the key areas, right? Now, some of the key areas is the accounting method. Now, most people don't understand the importance of accounting method, but trust me, it is absolutely critical. So, the accounting method, you can either use what we call cash accounting, or you can use what we call accrual accounting. You can use cash accounting. Cars Boston, welcome, right? So we are looking at just to kind of recap. We are talking about Schedule C. We've looked at who needs to complete a Schedule C. We've looked at sole proprietorships. We've looked at 1099s, independent contractors, right? Who get paid through a Form 1099 NEC, right? So, like I was saying, I'm just going to focus on the important elements of a Schedule C. One of the key areas on a Schedule C that most people don't understand is the accounting method. Accrual accounting means that it's based on the invoice date, but cash accounting is based on when money is received or paid, right? So which means that what? I'll just make it practical. So let's say that company A pays me, let's say Mika paid me today for work that I have. So Mika came to me and I did her tax plan and I showed her how she could save $20,000 this year, right? And by the way, let me just say this. If any of you, if you are making over $150,000, $200,000, you need to talk to a tax strategist like myself, right? If you have tax liabilities of over $50,000, then you need to talk to me, right? So let's say that Mika came to me and I showed her how to reduce. I did her tax plan and I showed her how she could reduce her taxes, right? So Mika would pay me today based on cash accounting. If Mika paid me $5,000, for example, I would account for that $5,000 in my 2023 tax return because it's based on cash accounting. But let's say that Mika didn't have money. She said, Jerry, I don't have money now. I'm going to pay you in January, right? Now, under cash accounting, the money that Mika paid me in January is going to be accounted for in my 2024 tax return. Now that is what we call cash accounting, right? But under accrual accounting, it means that what I provided a service today, this year in 2023, but Mika didn't have money to pay me. She said, Jerry, I owe you. I'm going to pay you in January, right? So it means that what I'm going to send in Mika an invoice, which is, December 3rd, right? But she doesn't pay me now. Now, under accrual accounting, I would still account for that expense and use it to reduce my taxes, even though she's going to pay me in January. That is what we call accrual accounting. Now, from a tax strategy perspective, this is absolutely critical. I'm telling you guys, this is absolutely critical, right? The wealth building RN welcome, right? So we are talking about businesses, Schedule C and all those things. We've started, but I was just emphasizing on the importance, which most people don't understand, the importance of accrual and cash accounting. So if you want to, you kind of join late, so you probably have to watch, once we've So that's the importance of. So the accounting method is on line F of your of the Schedule C, right? And it's absolute. Look, it makes a significant difference. You guys may not understand it, but from a strategic tax perspective, it can make a difference between a tax refund and a tax liability. Trust me, right? Now, so let's look at the income aspect of your Schedule C. You have in line 1, you have gross sales, right? Then you have returns. I'm not going to emphasize on those. You have cost of goods sold, and then you have your gross profit. I'm not going to dwell on those. I mean, is there anybody here who does not understand what gross receipts or sales are? Is there anyone here who does not understand what cost of goods sold are? Cost of goods. Anybody here understands what is meant by cost of goods? Right? So again, cost of goods is all about accounting, right? You have opening inventory plus purchases minus closing inventory gives the cost of goods sold, right? So that's just accounting. Just whoever does your taxes or accountant, they can talk about those things. So I'm going to dwell more on, you see, when it comes to businesses, the most important thing is expenses, because the tax code is about expenses. How do you maximize your income through expenses? That's what it's all about, right? So that's why I'm only going to dwell on the expenses. I'm going to go. It's hard to go to talk about every detailed line of the Schedule C, but I'm going to kind of give a quick overview, right? So we're going to talk about some elements, but one of the key things I mentioned was the accounting method, and that's absolutely critical. Now, when it comes to expenses, you have different types of expenses. You have advertising expenses, you have car and truck expenses. Again, now, car and truck expenses, that's another area that you can maximize, right? It can make a difference between you owning a car or you claiming mileage on a car, right? So generally, you can either claim actual expenses on your car, right? Or you can claim mileage, right? But let me give you guys the beauty about mileage. So think about this. You as a business owner, right? You claim 10,000 miles every day. Now, if let's say that 10,000 miles at 58.9%, something like it. So it gives you about over $6,000 in tax write-offs. So imagine that you are getting $6,000 every year because you are a business owner. You know the gray bearded model. Thank you for joining. We are talking about businesses. We are talking about Schedule C. We've looked at it's just for your benefit, really. We've looked at sole proprietorships. We've looked at LLCs tax as sole proprietorships. We are now looking at we've looked at independent contractors. All of those would go under Schedule C. So I would strongly recommend you watch the replay of of the life. We've spoken about one critical element, which is accounting method, right? But I'm not going to repeat myself because we are short of time, right? So we are now looking at the expenses. When it comes to expenses, this is where you have to use the tax code to your advantage. Now, as a business owner, you have to, the IRS is not there to determine what is a business expense. You have to make that determination, right? As long as the expense is ordinary and necessary for your business, it is a tax write-off. So I cannot make that determination for you. Only you can make that determination for yourself, which means that what? If you have to drive, like I drove to Florida, right? If you have to drive for 1,000 miles for a business event, you can either drive and claim the mileage, or you can fly and claim the travel expenses. Now, let me give you a good example. Let's say that you fly to a state where you have family members, right? But you have a business event there. You can literally travel to that state, claim it as a tax write-off, even though you are going to pay a visit to your family members. That is why everybody needs to have a business. Trust me, guys. You have to, right? Tenny, welcome, right? So that's why everybody needs to have a business. Now, so we've looked at car and truck expenses. You have other things like commissions and fees. You have contract labor, right? So if you're hiring people to work for you, yes, you put that under contract labor. Now, generally, when you have contract labor, you should really be paying them through a Form 1099, right? So if you are a sole proprietor and you're hiring people to work for you as contract laborers, really you should be paying them through a Form 1099 NEC. I'm emphasizing on this because I've seen many situations where some business owners just pay people and they have no record of the payments. You should be paying an independent contractor through a Form 1099 NEC, and this is absolutely important, right? Because record keeping, trust me, is so important. It's absolutely important, right? Now, and then you have things like depreciation, Section 179 expenses, and all those kind of stuff. I'm not going to go into the complexities and details of depreciation, but again, depreciation is one of the most powerful areas that the tax law allows business owners to use it to their advantage. There are so many powerful strategies. As a matter of fact, many tax strategies are based on depreciation, right? You have a different depreciation strategies for real estate investors. You have different depreciation strategies. You know, if you have business equipment, if you have motor vehicles and all those things over £6,000. So you have all those powerful strategies, right? Look, guys, anybody who is not a business owner, you're not doing yourself a favor, right? Now, so and then you have other elements of the Schedule C, like if you have employees, you have employee benefit programs, and then if you have like business insurance and all those things, you can claim it on your Schedule C. Now, most people don't understand when you are self-employed, right? And you're paying for your health insurance. The business actually, you can claim that as a tax write-off, right? Now, and then you have other elements or that you can, other expenses that you can claim. For example, things like interest, right? And you can also claim mortgage if you have a business and the business has, owns a property or something like that, and all this kind of stuff, right? So you have all, and then you have legal and professional services. So if you are hiring me as your tax strategist, and so Tenny hires Jerry, say, Jerry, I want you to show me how to save $50,000 in taxes, right? And you pay me $5,000 for showing you how to save $50,000. The $5,000 you can claim it as legal and professional services, right? Now, so that's how we tax strategies work. Now, and then you have other office expenses, right? Like my microphone here, my monitor. I have a 45-inch monitor, my speakers, my computers, my laptop, everything here. My phone stand, my earbuds, whatever, everything in my office is a tax write-off. Printers, stationery, all of those, they are their business expenses, right? Now there are other strategies that we can talk about, all this kind of stuff, but just for the sake of of what we're doing, there are more expenses than these that you can claim, to be honest, right? Um, okay. So let me just kind of go through this, and then I should be rounding up in about 2 minutes and give you guys time to ask a couple of questions, right? And then you have like rent. If you are renting, or leasing an office space, or renting or leasing a car or equipment, yes, you can claim that, right? And then you have like repairs and maintenance. You have office supplies or other supplies, and then taxes and licenses, right? So taxes and licenses are things that you can also claim as a tax write-off. Trust me, guys, everybody needs to have a business. You're not doing yourself any favors by not having a business, right? And then you have other stuff like travels and meals. Now, you can claim for your hotel accommodation, flying all over the place for business expenses. I'm going to a boot camp this week starting. I'll be flying to Dallas. And this is a real estate boot camp for tax strategists like myself. So we're going to be focusing on tax strategies for real estate investors, right? So education never stops, right? So, and then you have other things like I said, you can claim travel expenses, your car rental, all this kind of stuff, meals, taking your business partners to. So there are more tax strategies. I'm not going to go through all of this in detail. This is just a quick overview, right? But with time, I'm going to, especially from next year, I'm going to be talking about specific tax strategies that you can use to your advantage, and you beat the IRS. You don't have to give your money to Uncle Sam. It's a choice, right? Yes. And then you have wages and other expenses. So and then if you have, energy efficient commercial buildings, deductions and all those things. So there are so many. You can claim working from home, expenses for working from your home or having an office in your home is absolutely crazy. You can use either the simplified method or the actual expenses method. So it's crazy, guys, right? It's absolutely crazy the things that wealthy people do. You have to help yourself. So there's a bunch. This was kind of a quick overview of what Schedule C and the kind of expenses you can claim. But we are going to go into in depth, right? But that will be in separate sessions where I'm going to be talking about different expense categories. Look, I can take you guys through a journey of the tax code. We can do that, right? But it's going to take years because the tax code is too long. So I have to figure out a strategy. So I'm going to stop here for today, and then I'm going to answer all the questions. So let's see here. Who has any question? Right? So if you have any question, please post your questions there. Let me see. Right? Let me see. Any question? Right. Let me see. Any question? So Sugabuga, you say you have an LLC. So what was your question, please? Can you ask your question, right? If there are no questions, I'm going to be rounding up in about 2 minutes. Right. So let's see here. It says my investment property will not be done renovation this year. Can I still claim depreciation? So let's see here. So that's Charlie. Charlie, welcome. Right now. Okay, does that mean you can help investors with? Yes. So there are specific tax strategies for real estate investors. But does that mean you can help investors? Okay. Now, with regards to your question, right? For me to give you the best answer, I'll need more information. Are you understanding? Because there are many other questions that I need to ask before I can say, okay, this is the best course of action, right? But the overall principle is that it would depend. Is it whether it's a short-term rental, it's a long-term rental? Because there are different loopholes that you can use depending on what you want to achieve. So I think um, I think I would need to have a private session with you, and then we can have that conversation, right? So how will becoming a life insurance agent benefit with taxes? Right. Again, if you are a life insurance agent, you are going to get paid through a form 1099, right? 1099 NEC. A life insurance agent is a business owner. So the rules that apply for business owners, you can take them you can use them to your advantage. It means that what? You can travel. You see, the beauty with having a business is this. When you have a business, you can literally travel in all 50 states and claim it as a tax write-off. When I fly anywhere in the states and in the world and all those things, I claim it as business trips, right? Why? Because you have to make that determination. And again, it's more complex than that. You have to structure your businesses the right way to take advantage of certain tax codes. That's what people don't understand. To take advantage of certain tax codes, you need to structure your businesses in ways that will enable you enable you to take advantage of that specific tax code, right? For example, if you are a life insurance agent and you're making less than $50,000, you don't need $60,000. You don't need an LLC. You don't need that, right? But once you start making over $60,000-$70,000, then you need an LLC, and going further, you need an S corporation, right? So the tax strategy really depends on many other aspects. We need to design the business structure needs to be designed so that it can take advantage of specific tax strategies. So that's kind of how it works, right? So yes, to answer your question, yes, it's going to benefit you from a tax perspective because you can claim your meals. Again, there is with the limit. The time is very limited, but you have all the tax benefits of being a business owner. So all these expenses that I claimed, your mileage, your advertising, your meals, insurance, E&O, all those kind of things. If you are using any credit card for your business, now let me just say this: if you have a credit card that you're using for your business, any interest charge on that credit card is a tax write-off, right? So that's why, but you have to make sure that that credit card is dedicated for business use, right? So you can claim all those things. So you have all those advantages. So Mika, does that kind of answer your question? Does that answer your question, Mika? Yes, so Sugabuga, yes. So there are tax strategies for real estate investors, right? Yes, so there are definitely tax strategies for real estate investors. There are tax strategies for, look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. If generally tax strategies will talk to you if you are probably making over $150,000 or if you owe about $30,000 to the IRS minimum, right? So if you are going to owe at least $30,000 or if you are making over $150,000, then that will be the kind of people who need to talk to me, right? Again, I'm just being honest. You understand? So Tenny, you're asking about multiple rental properties. What was the question, please? What's your question, Tenny, please? I've only got 3 minutes, right? Tenny, what's your question? Tenny, what's your question? What's your question, please? Right? So anybody has any other question? Just because I've got about 3 minutes, right? I've got another appointment, right? Any other question? Any other question? Let's see. So Tenny, I don't know if it's a question you ask. Multiple rental properties. There are tax strategies for those who own rental property. There are many powerful tax strategies that you can use, right? For rental properties. Okay. So let's see here. Again, when it comes to rental properties, most there is a common mistake that most people make. Most people look, let me just bless you guys here. If you have rental properties, never put them in an S corporation. Never do that. Never ever ever do that. Never ever 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 do that. Never ever 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 do that. Never do that. You just be shooting yourself in the foot right there, right? So let's see. Any other question? Any other question? Right? Again, look, guys, it is more complex than this. I'm just trying to make it as simple as possible. And as I always like to start with the basics, right? So that's why I started with the difference between accrual accounting and cash accounting. Just that in itself is absolutely powerful, right? So let's see here. Okay, wow. Tenny says, wow. Tenny, what's happening? Tell me here. Right. Yeah, I mean, my information is on Instagram, right? But I'll just, you can call me or you can text me. I'll just put my number there, 832, right? So that's my phone number, right? Again, if just send me a text message and I always reply, right? I try to make things simple. Look, taxes are quite complex, right? They are quite complex. That's why I've started this journey to try to simplify things, but I do understand that it's very complex, right? Chris, welcome. So just bear with me. Accounting can be complex. Taxes are quite complex, but my goal, my job as a tax strategist is to simplify it. So it's not going to happen overnight. I'll do my best to explain the tax code in a way that everybody can understand, right? Yes. So guys, I'm going to stop here. It's great talking to you guys, right? Again, if you want to reach out to me, it's fine. You guys have my number. You have the best. I put my number there, 832-296-9110, right? 832-296-9110. Yes, I'm based in Houston, Texas, right? But I do business in all 50 states. So, just feel free to reach out to me. I love what I do. I'm so passionate about accounting. Look, this is, I breathe, and I love the tax code. I love taxes. This is my passion, right? So that's why I decided to start this journey, so that I can be a blessing to many people. So I'm going to stop here, guys. If you have any questions, next week I will try and get a different topic. So the goal is that every Sunday at 6 o'clock Central Time, I'll be talking about different topics. I will have to talk about different business entities. I'll have to talk about how to start a business. We can talk about different things, right? Again, if you guys want a specific thing that we can talk about, you can either post it now, or maybe just send me a text message. Say, Jerry, I would like us to talk a little bit about this. Then we can think about that, right? So Nurse Zoe, welcome. Unfortunately, we are kind of about rounding up, right? But like I said, if you have any question on taxes, tax strategy, just reach out to me. You've got my number. For those who are just joining, it's 832-296-9110. And for those who are just joining, I've been an accountant for 18 years. I'm a finance expert, and I'm also a tax strategist. I love taxes. I love finances. That's my passion, right? Right. So, okay, guys, you guys have a blessed Sunday, and we'll catch up next week. Please, if you like the video, you can share with your friends. Get them. Look, you should share with people. People need to know these things. Ignorance is not an excuse, right? So good night, guys, and you guys have a blessed Sunday. Bye-bye.